Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Thanks for waiting through all of that intense suspense as we had to wait for Tim, as usual, slowing us up. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker, and good things come to those who wait.
that is true. You waited through the suspense because this is about to be freaking awesome. That's why it was suspenseful in the first place. All right, guys, today we got a great show lined up. Dude, we ended last week's show celebrating all-time highs, and we're like way higher this week. So that has to be on the list, is the Bitcoin price. It's a tough thing to talk about because it changes so much, but I had to put it on the list. So that is coming up. And we're going to cover an interesting story about a Bitcoin trader who was raided by the feds. I don't know, FBI, SWAT, CIA, who knows what, NSA, alphabet soup. Anyway, lots of great stories. If you can see my screen, this is the place to be for tonight. You, me, and BTC.com/live. You can get everything you need to right here. You can watch the stream. You can chat with the same chat from YouTube. You can click on these links if you want to learn more about the stories we're about to cover, although we're going to tell you more in just a moment. And you can vote in our Bitcoin poll, which is all about the price. I mean, geez, it's hard to talk about the price all the time, but it's great, you know? I mean, it keeps going up. But you never know. Is it a bubble? Is it about to crash? Is it going to be stable? Those are some of your options for our poll at the bottom. That's you, me, and BTC.com/live. Guys, before we get started here, I want to mention, again, if you can see my screen, there's this awesome logo here for Spells of Genesis. It is a blockchain-based trading card game, and it's fun. I mean, there's an app on your phone that links to real assets on the real Bitcoin blockchain, and anything that you own, you can use in the game. Cards, they are characters, whatever you want to call them. And geez, these things are expensive. One of the rare cards sold just the other day for over $5,000. That's just one of the rare ones. There's cheap ones too if you want to, but that just goes to show how much value people are seeing in this game. If you want to check it out, you, me, and BTC.com/SOG for Spells of Genesis. You, me, and BTC.com/SOG. Learn how it works. Learn how you can get some bit crystals and some Satoshi cards and some Genesis blocks, whatever the heck interests you. It's got some great artwork too. Keep an eye out next week. I got a cool thing to show you. So we'll get there. All right, here we go, Tim. Prices. All right, here's another thing on our website, this widget on the side. We went over this last week. There's a million different ways to count the price, different exchanges, last, high, low, bid, ask, whatever, weighted average, rolling average, whatever. But, you know, it's somewhere. These charts are showing over $1,500, $1,530, $1,590. I even got $1,560 up here. I think you can see this browser bar, plugin, whatever up here. Holy cow. So, Tim, how would you answer our poll? Everyone get down there and make your own votes if you're watching. But, Tim, are we the poll, I guess, is about the future. What's next? Are we about to bubble? Are we about to crash? Are we about to remain stable? Or would you like to bit my coin?
I have no desire to do anything with your coin, your bid, or whatever. I think what it's going to do, I mean, it's kind of already... I say, fuck it, it's going to crash. It's going to go to $20 because you didn't come here to listen to me pussyfoot around it. You listen to me make the decisions for you. No.
Wait. Seriously, you think it's going to go pretty far down? I know last thing I read before I went to sleep was a text from Tim. Either Bitcoin's going to be zero tomorrow or it's going to be to the moon. I don't really know where you were getting that from, but it's a good question. So it's in our poll now. What would you say is more likely?
I'd say more likely it's just, I mean, it's going to go up because...
now that I think about it, that explains all the nightmares I had last night.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. You're just there, just like you're waking up, just like, oh, I'm going to lose all my money. It's going to be gone.
No, I was having nightmares because the last thing I read was from you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I do apologize because I just looked there because I was looking at the poll, and I apologize for Daniel's attempts at jokes that he tries in the chat. I apologize to you guys. I don't want to. Please, 21 Million Club, don't leave because of that. We like you, and I'll come up with something funny eventually. Anyway.
Yeah. You were in the middle of a good point, and I cut you off. Those don't come along very often.
It wasn't a good point. It was pretty much.
All right. Seriously, though, I want to know what your prediction is and why.
Yeah, I think the Bitcoin's going to keep on going up, mostly because it's been going up. So I think it's going to do that for. I'm not talking like since it was made. I'm talking the past couple, like the last month. The trend's up, and then yeah, I'll go with that. I feel like it's going to keep on going up for a little bit. It's at some weird times. The outside world's kind of still a little bit weird because people are still like, "Oh, is Trump going to kill everybody? What's the dollar doing?" Like there was a little bit of the stock exchange going up, and everyone who's like Trump was like, "See, he is making America better." But, yeah, I think that for right now, I think we're just definitely going to go up a little bit more from here. I'm almost certain there's going to be a crash down to around 1,000. I don't know if it's far enough for that to be called a crash. How far does something have to go for it to be a crash?
Okay, that's a great question. Oh, what do I think? If you can see my screen, I got a chart here, and this is CoinDesk that just today wrote an article about Bitcoin dropping $100 in an hour, and the chart here is pretty dramatic, but it's recovered since then. That's how crazy Bitcoin's been today, and that's why we had to talk about it, because it dropped $100 in 1 hour, and now it's right back where it was. Yeah, how far does it have to drop to be a crash? That is an incredibly good question, a tough question, because it really depends who you ask. For me, it could go as low as 300, 400, 500. I would barely even notice. I wouldn't sell at like 8 or 9. I just wouldn't. I'm not. It's weird because sometimes Bitcoin maximalists just seem too crazy to me, but it's true. Like I just don't have any interest in selling. So yeah, I guess that's about where it would be for me is 400 to 500. If it got that low, especially, I guess it depends how quickly it falls too. Like if it's 800 tomorrow morning, all right, that's a crash. But overall, no matter how long it takes, if it gets down to 400 or 500, I'd probably consider that a crash. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, so you're saying like $1,000? It has to be over or around $1,000 for it to be considered a crash?
No. I'm saying it would have to go all the way down to 400 or 500. Technically, or whatever, commonsensically, yeah. If it's 900, 800, that's probably a crash. But for me to actually be concerned that it's like done, it would have to go all the way down to 400 or 500.
I'd say it'd have to go lower than that. For me to say it's absolutely.
Right. I thought I was giving it a low. No. I don't mean absolutely. I don't mean it's just
send a tweet out, be like, "Fuck it, I'm done with this. We're never doing the podcast again. Tim can be late forever. It doesn't matter." Yeah, for me to go on Twitter and tweet out Bitcoin's dead, though, I have all like 100 followers, and that's mostly just people because I followed them. So I don't think anyone gives a shit. They're gonna be like, "All right, what the fuck are you talking about, you weirdo? Shut the fuck up." But for me to, yeah, I guess for me to say I'm not touching this again, 100 probably. But by the time it's down by 100, I'm gonna make some kind of rationalization. I mean, it'll eventually get better. I can't. Like, I'll just buy more.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. At what point do you say I'm not touching this anymore? And that's different for me than when I would call it a crash. At 400 to 500, I would call it a pretty serious crash, but I still wouldn't, not touch it again. I'm with you. It would have to be down maybe below 200. I would give up on it. If something like Ethereum was all of a sudden a much higher market cap, then it'd be tough, but I might say, okay, Bitcoin has been displaced. There's similar but better things that are out there now, and they're winning. It could happen.
There's better. Would that matter? Does that matter?
Would what matter?
Ethereum. Sorry, if Ethereum isn't in the top, no, not sorry. Fuck you. I don't want to talk. Is Ethereum? Does it matter if Ethereum does have a higher market cap.
Yeah, to me it does, because in fact, maybe that's one of the determining factors for me is if Ethereum or anything else, as soon as its market cap crosses Bitcoin, I might feel comfortable saying Bitcoin is done, only because, other coins are the same but better in a lot of ways. So if they actually gain a higher market share, why would something that is similar but better and bigger like that, how is that going to, the only reason I think Bitcoin has it for now and for a while is because it's bigger. But if somehow it's no longer bigger, I think it doesn't stand a chance. Right?
No, I wouldn't say it's just gonna. This is going back to Bitcoin will always be around. But
True.
I mean, it can't be dead technically, and there's still gonna be.
Yeah. How do we define dead? How do we define
No,
crash? How do we define I'm not touching it anymore? Let's just give up on life. That's what we always come to at the end of every episode. So
what's the point? But that is the interesting part, though. Too, is that it is some of that is the market cap, but then you also do have to just look at how people act. People don't always make decisions on. I'm really shaking this screen around.
yeah, it's you got a little robot in there too.
I mean, yeah. People don't necessarily always make decisions, and especially, I think, like what alternative currency you use is a very limited. Like the amount of people who ask that question is very limited, and because of that, you're going to get more non-market kind of reactions because it's smaller. Like in a bigger economy, you can be like, okay, people are normally going to act like this. But the smaller you get, the more you get the person who's just doing something or switching from Bitcoin for no real specific reason besides something about Bitcoin pissed them off. They got scammed, something like that. I'm not really sure what I was asking you before
that's
about
volatility, right?
What'd you say?
I mean, a smaller market has more volatility, right? But people can come and go faster.
It has volatility because of how small it is and how much I can change it just by putting like 500, not necessarily Bitcoin, but just putting the smaller the market, the more the individual person. But I think also with the smaller the market, the individual person, what's going to happen is a little bit harder to predict because it's a lot more to do, like separate from I can change it more. I think I'm going to change it more the smaller I'm involved with it. One, just because I feel like I'm entitled to do that, maybe, and two, just because it's just obviously going to get affected by me, and that isn't always because of market conditions. Because a lot of times I bought Bitcoin when it didn't make sense for market conditions, and I sold Bitcoin when it didn't make any fucking sense to sell Bitcoin. So, yeah. If it drops down, I'd argue even just something down to like 1100 would be a crash, but I'm almost expecting that just because that seems what has always happened.
That's what Bitcoin does. Yep. So I get what you're saying. As the market gets smaller, then it can move a lot more. People can come and go a lot faster, and their money can do a lot more in the market. I'm not sure if I got the conclusion there. I mean, what does that mean that it might look like it crashed, but not really? I don't get where you were going with that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked about if Ethereum mattered, because you said if Ethereum went up versus Bitcoin. I was thinking, and just because Bitcoin goes down doesn't necessarily mean that an altcoin goes up. At least I think that it would have to be some kind of like an outside force. Because anything else, if a market, the people are going to keep on using Bitcoin until something gets better. But if something else comes in, whether it's, I mean, what if there's like a solar flare, it knocks down all the internet connection? What would that do to the blockchain? I guess it wouldn't do anything. It would just, they'd have to wait a little bit to do transaction. What did you say?
I mean, we've covered that a lot, and we've said it before. Basically, in a sense, you could run Bitcoin with just one person, with just one node, in a sense, but it would be useless.
Yeah.
If the solar flare really did knock everything out, I think what most people say, and I agree, we got bigger things to worry about. We're not going to be worrying about buying Bitcoin. Won't matter. We'll have much more important, hiding underground or whatever. I don't know.
There's nuclear radiation on the ground now. So yeah, I was asking you the question. I think I was making the point because Bitcoin might just go down just because of something stupid, either because the government makes a ruling or because we just don't even use compute. We find this different technology, we jump way forward in computers, and then we just don't even need a wait, this is like really extenuous circumstances. So this doesn't really even, I'm like, what if we jump 200 years ahead in the future and then we have all these things? We don't need a blockchain. We just think money and think food. Yeah, so forget what I said there. Just know that there wasn't much of a point to that. Besides, yeah, go Daniel.
We gotta jump into the chat here a little bit because we've been getting some messages, and I don't want to get too far behind. So first of all, reminder, everyone, thanks for jumping in the chat. Please continue to do so. Let us know what you're thinking. Every time I ask a question, I'm not just asking Tim, I'm asking all of you. For anyone that's not there yet, that's at you, me, and btc.com/live. And the chat is right there. 21 Million Club says, way back, he says, F the feds. That's because of a story that we'll get to shortly where the feds raided a Bitcoin trader. But then getting into the price here, Joe says, huge volumes on both dumps today. I want to see one more high volume dump before night. Come on, guys, panic. So there's a couple things there. First of all, he wants to see another dump. And actually, in a sense, I agree with him because I would love it if Bitcoin was cheaper to buy. So that's step one. But he also says we should panic. And it's true. We don't. Tim and I here on the show, if you've listened before, the conclusion of every point we ever make is, whatever. We don't panic. And maybe we should. And maybe it's more fun if everyone panics. Welcome to the show, Rick. He says, hello, brothers. And Joe also says, that was sheer panic selling. It's called human nature. Enjoy it. If it drops to 1,200, trust me, those who bought today and held out will panic too. Yeah, okay. So I think he's saying just, if one person panics, then the price will drop, and another person will panic, and the price will drop, and another person will panic. It's happened before in markets, and yeah, it could happen. There's going to be a bottom, though. Like I said, I want it to be cheaper so that I can buy. So to some extent, hopefully I'm going to counteract their panicking. Hopefully it doesn't go so low that I really do start to panic, but it can happen. And Rick says, oh, geez. Rick says, how much does he need to tip to fix Tim's frickin' audio?
I've said this multiple times. Just all of your money. Give me all of your Bitcoins and I'll be fine. It's also because I was running Skype in the background still for some stupid reason. Maybe. It probably won't get better, but yeah, all of your Bitcoin, and I don't have to. Also, I don't have to be late anymore. I'll be here every single time on time. Just pay me $50,000 every single show.
We got a really good one. Oh, hey, first of all, it's me, Boss Lady says, don't forget to share this video. Like and share it. Literally, that's the best thing you can do for us right now. Aside from tipping Tim all of your money, if you hit the thumbs up and share, hit a share button, that will just that'll make all the difference for us tonight. But a real great question that both of us should cover on the air, and I hope everyone in the chat will kind of chime in here. Rick commented, BTC is down to 57.3% of the market. And he's referring to, I'm sure there's all kinds of stats out there, but if you take the top X altcoins, call it 20, all right, there might be 20 altcoins that are worth talking about. And if you combine all of those with Bitcoin, Bitcoin has 57% of the market share. Maybe they count 100 altcoins. I don't know how many. But roughly, Bitcoin, out of the worthwhile altcoins, Bitcoin is barely keeping half of the market share, which is a really important number to talk about. Because I know we said earlier in the show, well, what if Ethereum overtakes Bitcoin? But what if altcoins in general overtake Bitcoin? What if Bitcoin drops below 50% and altcoins overall are used more? What the heck does that mean? Does that mean Bitcoin's done, Tim? Or anyone else in the chat? What then? Like at what percentage, if we're combining all relevant altcoins, at what percentage are you like, holy crap, when do you start to panic? Do you ever panic, or are you always just like,
Well, I like the point of Joe. He retracted something, so maybe he made a different point. So I don't want to say that I would support of that. I can't support things I don't see, Joe. You shouldn't hide things, fake news. Anyway, he says that he says your cavalier attitude will serve you well because you bought in maybe 500 less compared to someone who's buying in now. And I completely get that. And I don't really ever think about that, mostly because I don't care. I don't find it really that helpful to panic about things for other people's sake. I guess, I mean, it's very selfish normally, but it helps me not panic all the time. And I have a tendency to, I don't panic about things that make sense either. Normally I'll get a little idea in my head and I'm like, that's definitely how they're going to take out Bitcoin. And then they're going to kill me because I have it and everything. And then they're going to take my taxes. And but that's what I normally do. So how do I not, how do you, that's what everything is nowadays. Everyone's like, how do I not give a fuck? You just don't give a fuck. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's what Rick asks. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. He says, "How are you guys not panic selling into alts?" We just don't. It just doesn't matter. Like so Joe says, "Oh, your cavalier attitude will serve you well. You must have been in at 500 or less." Yeah, Joe, that's close enough. We were both in at like $30. So
I was 20, and then I told you, and then we sold, and then bought, and sold, and bought.
Yeah, it's me, boss lady, just like last week. You know, buy and hold, buy and hold. That's what she's saying. Absolutely, I'm with you there. Buy and hold. Yeah, like I said earlier, maximalists can sound a little crazy to me, but I still agree with them. I mean, I just buy and hold. I don't know. All right.
Panic never helps. Panic doesn't serve anybody. If you're going to make a decision, buy or sell it, but then you can't second guess it afterwards. You just have to do it or not. And like,
yeah,
because even right now, like even just buying something, if you start thinking about it for too long, you're just going to get stuck. I mean,
oh geez, yeah.
I should wait till tomorrow. I was already doing that. Maybe I should wait till the morning to buy something because maybe it'll go up by another $200, and then I'm just waiting for it to drop. I think I even said that in the last one.
Right. Well, to clarify, when you say buy, you mean spend Bitcoin. So you're buying other stuff with Bitcoin, so you want the price to be high. Just so nobody gets confused. You're not waiting for it to go up $200 so you could buy Bitcoin at $1,700.
Stock market, it's completely run by the government. It is not at all. It's not natural. It doesn't follow natural. What you want to do in any kind of real economy is you buy high and you sell low, because then you confuse people and then they just quit, and then you just win. You take all the money.
Hey, we got another good one from Joe here. He said he asked us a little earlier, and I think we skipped over it. Well, what happens when all the available Bitcoins are mined? And we covered this way back in episode 1, or maybe even in the Lost Audio episode before we really started the podcast. And it literally is lost audio. We can't find it. Anyway, way back in the day, we one of our earliest episodes, we were saying, like, what's going to happen when everything's mined? Like, who's going to do the mining, and what's going to be their incentive? And part of the answer is transaction fees. I mean, it's a tough reality, because at that time everyone was saying that Bitcoin was free. I mean, that was before all this block size crap. Bitcoin was free. You could put a 0 fee on a transaction and it would go through. Today, not so anymore. I've been waiting days for some of my transactions lately. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, so the answer is transaction fees, and maybe this is tough, but maybe we'll get like just kind of in some sense, generosity, right? Not, people might just mine just it's going to be for free or for very low fees. They're going to say it's because of generosity, but really it's going to be because Bitcoin is what makes the economy work, and Bitcoin existing is how they make their money. Maybe they sell stuff for Bitcoin. Maybe it's something like Coinbase where they buy and sell Bitcoin, and they're going to do the mining because they're dependent on Bitcoin. So they're going to say they're being generous, but they're just making a risk analysis, cost benefit, whatever. So it's going to be a combination of the two. The fees will subsidize people who will do it for cheaper than maybe they really should. That's really what I think it's going to come down to. Would you agree with that, Tim? And everyone else, would you agree with that? Jump in the chat box.
Jump in the chat box. I think, yeah, no, that makes sense at least. I don't know what's actually going to happen because you always have, is every person just having a little, like a coffee maker that's a small miner? Is still, do people still talk about that?
You're right. We that's what we said way back in the day. And that's kind of the same idea as what I meant. Like everyone's just going to be a miner. Either it'll be big corporations or just everyone, because everyone needs Bitcoin. I could see that happening. That everyone would just run a little miner for a few cents a month because that's what they need to make Bitcoin happen. I don't know though, because if that was really the case and everyone was running a miner, I would just turn mine off. Why not save a couple cents a month? And Bitcoin is still going to be there.
Depending on a novelty thing then at that point. Oh, wait, a toaster that mines Bitcoin?
Well, so not a toaster. It would more likely be your phone. I mean, 21.co, they're already kind of doing that idea where any little processor can just mine a little bit. And that would be helpful. Yeah, I might want to run a bit of mining on my phone just because I'm going to want to transact with my phone. So that's going to incentivize some people, but there's going to be just as many people that are like, well, if everyone else is doing it, I'm just turning mine off.
See, we need to get people, if we're going to do it, we're going to do something positive with the show besides just panicking, which I advised at first. I advised we just do an entire panic show, and then Daniel's making jokes about Panic at the Disco. But
well, that's true.
I think we need to make some kind of like nebulous idea or like we need to shame people into mining stuff somehow. I don't know how you do it, and we need to do it first so that we don't have to do it, because anyone, like, you can shame we need to be the old guys who are like out there shaming men for like dodging the draft. Like they're like, we're not going, but like you should be. Because, I mean, this is what we do, Daniel, is we spread our message. But we need to figure out a way to just shame people and run Bitcoin. Because if it's not that, it will just be a large corporation running it because they can make, or they believe they can make more money by having that up and running. It's the same kind of, the first thing that came to my head was like people be like, well, Bitcoin nobody will mine it afterwards if you're not making any money. I think you can say the same thing about, well, no one's going to build a road from this store to that store, this store to that house.
Yeah.
And it's like
that's a perfect example.
Yeah, they might, maybe everybody walks, but most likely they're like, why don't we just build a road and make this easier, and then you give me more money?
Exactly. I was trying to think of an example as I was laying all that out. Joe thinks we're spewing nonsense. He says, do you even think shit out before you start spewing nonsense? No. He doesn't. I'm waiting for his response because I'm not really sure what he has against transaction fees. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's the exact same thing about the roads. Like companies are going to build roads because they work. They make life better. Maybe there'll be toll roads. That's what transaction fees are. Maybe there'll be free roads that are sponsored by someone like Coinbase. Both will happen. Both are perfectly normal. Maybe literally that exactly explains everything all the possibilities we just talked about. Either it will be transaction fees, that's a toll road, or it'll be a sponsored road by a big corporation, or everyone's just going to do it because they need a road from my house to your house.
I do kind
of going to do it.
I think I understand what he's saying.
What'd you say?
I think I understand part of at least part of what he's saying. If I don't repeat it every 3 times, is he's like, you're kind of assuming whenever Bitcoin gets to where it's been mined that it will be universally accepted. We're not necessarily meaning universally accepted. We're just that kind of has to be what it's going to be if everyone's going to run it on like just a plug-in on their phone. You need, I think, probably more people, or you will just have corporations doing it because it won't make sense. But you could still run it. It'd be slow. It doesn't have to be universally accepted. It would be whoever still wants to use Bitcoin. So we're not, at least I wasn't just every single person in the United States and go, oh, the last Bitcoin was mine. Why don't we start using this shit now? I was bringing that up. I don't really even think that's that viable an option because I don't think that most people would just run it eventually. I'd eventually unplug it. I'd be like, I don't really care about this. Just it's so much extra money. I do think it has to be something with corporations like that. Probably.
What if you needed it though? I mean, it's like these anarchists who are fixing potholes. Like if you need something, if you need a freaking road to get to work, you're gonna make. I don't need the government to make it. I'll do it. Like I got to get to work. My work will do it because they need me to get there. Like it's gonna happen. There will be agreements and contracts and money that's gonna change hands. It's going to happen. They're going to do stuff that needs to get done to make life better, right?
Yeah, I mean, they should. Everything's, and the people who don't.
No. Even if there's no should there. Like they're just going to because everyone wants life to be better.
Not like, everybody wants life to be better. You know how many people just
fine.
sit in their
then they won't. What? That's fine too. Like if you don't, that's what I'm saying. Then your life is not going to be better.
Yeah. If you don't use if you don't want to run it, if you just want to sit there, but that's the problem with everything is you something where we have Bitcoin being supported by every single person running it just in their house off of a small appliance. It depends on some kind of made up reason that it's wrong to not do it, because if you don't do that, the majority of people are not normally just going to do something just for or the majority of people don't, I think, don't put that much thought into it, and we're selfish. So that's why we have religion, or we have governments that then get us to, oh, maybe I should help this person because they're the same religion as me, or maybe I should help this person because they come from the same country, or maybe we can work together. Like we don't work together outside of like a couple hundred people. It's too hard for our stupid brains anymore to remember people and to care. So you need, like, if we can all just agree, like some kind of, I mean, even honor, it's still like, or honor, or just everyone has to sign like, oh, I'm running this. That's still something kind of made. There is no honor or like looming in the air around us. It's this way to get us to try to just act not like shitheads. So we just need something like that just works for people on the internet. And it's, we've talked about it before. And I mean, we've said before, we're very much hypocrites about it, but ideally proper Bitcoin use is just running a full node, because it's beyond just using the currency. It's you supporting it. If you're going to say that you want Bitcoin to get better and you want it to grow and you want it to bring more people, then be a full node. If you're a someone who loves the United States and you want other people to love the United States, you're not just going to sit there. I really like the United States, but I'm not going to tell anybody. If you're religious, you're not generally, besides Buddhists because they're lazy, you're not going to go out and you're going to go out and force people to, or not. I mean, sometimes you'll force people, but ideally you're going to go, oh, hey, did you hear about this? I have this new thing, and it lets you not feel bad about things. And then you won't go to hell whenever you die. And if you don't, it'll be bad. But it all ends up being something to force us into doing it. And if we can figure out something like that, maybe we will have universal adoption. We just have to get people to be, again, just be more involved. But the problem is everyone's still stuck with, easier. Someone else will take care of it. I don't have to
Right.
do this. Why would I want to run something just to pay people? This doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of it's about just taking control of your own finances and life, really. It's a interesting philosophy, but yeah, nobody sticks by their philosophy. So will we get there? Who knows? But hey, we are going to run a quick commercial. This has been fun. Make sure, guys, that you jump in the chat box. You, me, and btc.com/live. We got some good back and forth going on there. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and a share button if you want to let other people know about this and let them chime in the chat box or watch later. If you're listening or watching later, you can still hit the share button. I'll ask Tim to mute himself. I also want to throw out one reminder that I think we're going to have Zach with us here shortly. That was kind of part of the plan, but he's bailed on us before, so I can't promise anything. But our resident price analyzer, he's made some great predictions in the past. That's not actually exaggerating. He's actually been surprisingly accurate. But I think he'll be with us shortly. So for what it's worth, there's the maybe on that one. Guys, thanks for being here. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Purse is an e-commerce platform. Own stuff securely with Purse's trusted escrow service. Sign up today at purse.io and use code Bitcoin to receive 10 free. Hey, Tim, did I mute myself there? I'm pretty sure I did. Did that thing stop? You're muted too. I'm just going to start it over. We'll be right back. Purse is an e-commerce platform that lets you buy and sell goods for Bitcoin. Shop the world's largest selection at a discount, or set up a storefront and sell your own stuff securely with Purse's trusted escrow service. Sign up today at purse.io and use code Bitcoin to receive 10 free millibits after your first $50 transaction. Purse is also helping build and scale Bitcoin infrastructure with Bitcoin, a full node implementation of Bitcoin. Check it out at bitcoin.io and follow these guys at Bitcoin and at Purse.io. Yeah, apologies if I did. I think I muted that. But hey, there you go. You get 2 commercials. Thanks for sticking by us, guys. One more reminder, you, me, and btc.com/live is the place to be if you want to jump in the chat. We're about to get to this next story about, well, we're coming up on the end here, but we'll have some fun covering it. A Bitcoin trader that got raided. I don't know. Maybe that's not really fun to cover. But one more comment. This is from Just Joe. We were asking him what's wrong with transaction fees, and he says that Bitcoin miners have a major incentive to drive price higher, at least maybe acknowledging the possibility that the incentive goes away once they go away. So once the miners go away, there's no incentive to drive the price up, but I don't know why the miners are going away.
No,
I guess I can kind of see it though.
Once nothing's getting like released anymore on a regular basis, he's saying there's not as much of an incentive, and there isn't as much of an incentive, but there is still some incentive. Like, it doesn't completely go away.
Well, yeah, there's less incentive to mine. There might be less incentive for them to somehow drive the price higher if they do that. Because the higher they drive the price, then maybe the higher the fees will be. But even that's not quite right, because they could still pay like the same dollar amount of fees, and just it'll be a different Bitcoin amount as the price is driven higher. Yeah, it's a tough question. I guess I won't say you're the crazy one, Joe. Like, you got some fair points there. There's a lot of tough questions about incentive, but yeah, hey, Bitcoin's not free. It's a great thing, and people are going to pay for it, I think, with transaction fees or by sponsoring mining or whatever it takes. I think it's a great thing, and people are going to be willing to pay for it, and they're going to be willing to buy it at higher prices and whatnot. So that's my theory. So I guess anything else, Tim, before we move on? Are you ready?
I'm good.
Okay, guys. So actually, I guess I'll let Tim continue here. This is a story actually not too far from me. I don't know how I feel about that. but it's a story about a Bitcoin trader, like we've been saying, who got raided by the feds, and now I'll just let Tim take it away.
I mean, you are right, Daniel. This is real close to you. I'm starting to wonder if maybe you had something to do with this.
You never know.
Trading
Never
narc?
afraid to know. I've never traded Bitcoin
Daniel
in my life.
may have some connections in the Fed, so maybe we can exploit this later on in the show's future. But this is a story about a Bitcoin miner man named
Bitcoin
Costanzo,
miner,
which I can't read without thinking of George Costanza from Seinfeld. I keep on every time I see it in there, it's like he's been mining. He also looks terrifying, but whatever. More power to you, man. It's Thomas Mario Costanzo, aka Morpheus Titania. Was detained after he was arrested on 420, which he was only arrested because he had, what does it say, 60 Winchester bullets in his house at the time. He's not allowed to have it because he had weed criminal. He had,
right.
Sorry, what?
Right.
All right. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, he was arrested the other day, and the warrant was sent for him because of Bitcoin mining and that being suspicious, and also because of a long history of the wording was weird. You have it right there, right, Daniel? It's like not cooperating. A long list of non-compliance with government requirements. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very dangerous man who has a non-compliant attitude towards just rules put forward, and therefore he is a dangerous individual. But I mean, his picture does not help the stereotype. He's kind of like staring out at his, oh, fuck you guys. You got me.
I'll keep talking, but I'll get that on the screen share in just a sec.
The raid happened because of, he's a very public miner. He's a public trader. Not a public miner. He's a public trader. And that's attracted some attention. And they were saying, well, I mean, he's trading, he's making money off of that, and you're not supposed to be doing that. He might be doing money laundering, which you're not supposed to be doing that. He might be doing money laundering while selling drugs or covering that up, which you can't do that. And they just have all this stuff, and then they arrest him because he has 60 rounds of Winchester like rifle ammo that he's not allowed to have. They don't have a gun that I've seen.
Right.
He just has the ammunition, and he's like, it's not mine, but it's in my house. So I don't know if he just he got someone to just take the rifle as soon as they showed up or so. It doesn't really make sense to me why he just has 60 rounds of Winchester rifle ammunition.
Right.
And that's what they were that's what they were able to arrest him on, because it's a parole violation of, he has a couple prior convictions, one back in like the 90s for running from police, but also I think 2 marijuana possession. And anywhere
he's a pretty well-known anarchist. I mean, he has a blog and whatnot, and he blogs about all this stuff, Bitcoin and whatever. There's his picture for anyone that's interested. And yeah, that doesn't make him look any more friendly or anything, but yeah. And yeah, so he was on some kind of probation, and they didn't detain him anything to do with Bitcoin, but they did because of this ammunition.
Well, yeah, they got him on all kinds of technicalities, because in Arizona, apparently the law for marijuana is if you don't have a medical card, any kind of possession is a felony. So they got him for that, and then they got him for possession of ammunition after. They don't really have anything on him. They're kind of just, I guess, harassing him. The writer of the article, this is from the New Times in Phoenix. I don't know if it's do you guys out there trust the New Times, Daniel? Is that like a... Is it respectable?
The Phoenix New Time? No, I've never heard of it till this story, but it was kind of interesting. So
it's trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, she or whoever writes it makes a point of saying that he writes all kinds of things and has other people talking about stuff about Bitcoin trading, about government, and they go 9/11 conspiracies. I mean, there's all kinds of conspiracy on there, lady, not just 9/11. So I don't think it's a lady. It was written by Ray, who's a newspaper reporter in Arizona, but his picture looks like a 50-year-old woman on vacation. So I don't know what exactly is. And I'm only angry at Ray because he ends the entire article with saying, "Where are Neo and Trinity when you need them to save Morpheus?" But yeah, they've been coming down on him right now, especially because, I mean, they're pretty much just harassing him because a lot of times, I'm sure if a cop in Arizona finds somebody with like a gram of weed on them, they don't have a medical card. They're not like, yep, we got you, parole forever, and you can never own a firearm.
Right.
And same thing again, like they found 60 rounds of ammunition. They didn't find a firearm. They found 60 rounds of ammunition, which doesn't make sense. Maybe
you know what you can do with ammunition?
Like hold it. Like,
don't even get me started. Jeez, I put in the show notes. I thought it was kind of funny. I know I'm kind of tooting my own horn here, but I was like, he was supposedly operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. And naturally, that means we have to call in armored vehicles full of armed men to break in and look through all his stuff. Of course. I mean, we can't let this guy out on the loose. Are you kidding me? Holy crap. Have you seen his picture?
Might be selling Bitcoins to kids.
Honestly, do you want your kids around Bitcoins?
Do you want to give your kids free money? I mean, what the fuck is the matter with you as a parent?
It only takes one Bitcoin, and suddenly they'll overdose.
My son was a straight A student before he had Bitcoin. Then he died of heroin the next day. He had that good shit too, that white China.
Yeah. So what's the takeaway here, Tim? I don't know. What do you know? I obviously you know nothing about trying to worry about the cops. You have no reason to. But is there something we can take away here? Like, be careful with this, or don't let the cops know this. I mean, what's the takeaway here? What can we do about this kind of crap?
And the same thing with Bitcoin, where they were asking us why we don't freak out, is my same answer for this, and it's because you can't do anything about it. And this is the best kind of evidence I can have is this guy wasn't like going out on the street, going after people. There's known drug dealers that police leave out there, known heroin dealers, known pedophiles, known murderers that people. Yeah, I mean, we haven't caught him yet. And then this one, they break into his house and find ammunition sitting there. When you can do, everybody has at least one bullet in their house. They have to. Someone probably left it there, so you can get in trouble. But my thoughts on this and my thinking is, if they want to get you, if they want to bring you in, you're not going to stop that, and you can't. There's no, like, if you're trading Bitcoin, you get something in the mail, or someone comes to your door, and like, hey, like if cops are knocking on your door, you can't just wait till they go away. That's not really going to work. They're eventually going to come inside the house. If they're there knocking, the best thing you can do is just open it. You don't have to let people in. You don't have to consent to searches. And that's what I would say is, if you're worried about it, just whenever you talk to the cops, it depends on what state you're in, because at all times people are constantly making laws about how, if you don't let the cops do their job, you're just going to get more people killed. So like in Pennsylvania right now, they don't have to have probable cause to search my car. They can, as soon as they pull me over, but yeah, no, I got to tear this whole fucking thing apart because, you might. So you can't stop it if it's going to happen, if they're going to bother you, but you can be safe and don't. There's enough anarchist bloggers, I guess. That's also what I'm saying. Partly just to secure us and to clear out the market a little bit for us. Nobody else do this, but also because we have enough, like I said, we have enough anarchist bloggers. If you really want to get something out of you feel like you have something to say, email them or something like that. Let them say it. You don't need to be going online and saying how you think that the U.S. government did 9/11 and now Bitcoin is going to be our way to get money away from them so they can't kill our citizens anymore. Because
that's what we're for. That's why we're running a live hangout tonight, guys.
We do this because we're heroes and we're here for you guys. We're the ones going to get arrested.
Their hatred, all of the government's hatred for people that hate the government, we're taking that for you. I'm going to get raided next. They're coming up the street.
we actually have sacrificed Dan, and we are crucifying him on the altar of the state. for the sake of the podcast, actually, because we're going to talk about it for the next 2 years. We're going to have like interviews with him in jail. It's like, guys, please, I just want to. I don't fuck Bitcoin. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah,
it's possible.
If they want you, they're going to get you. Don't be stupid. Don't. If a cop comes up to you and stops you, don't be like, I know my rights, officer, and I don't have to. Just as long as he's not telling you to fucking incriminate yourself, just do it. Like if you don't like, get out of the car, I don't have to get out of the car. Am I being arrested? Just step out of the car. If he arrests you again, I mean, again, know the laws. So afterwards in court, you can fuck them over, because they can do whatever, and they can pretty much do whatever in court too. But sometimes,
exactly. So yeah. So
fuck them over in court.
I mean, you could try, but even like you just said, they can do whatever they want there too. So you could try. You might be able to get them. I've done it before, where an officer, we talked about it on the show, but an officer screwed up. We went to court. I got not guilty. All right. I mean, it could happen, but the judge is just as much a part of the system as the cop is. And the judge has no interest in letting you go, other than just being a nice guy to get some attention for himself. That's the only reason any judge will ever let anyone go, is because the judge wants to keep his job. That's really it. All right, guys. I'm showing 5 minutes left. That sounds like just enough time to squeeze in some advice of the week. Advice of the day, maybe, if you know, Tim's on Twitter every day sending out advice. So for him, it's his advice of the day. For me, I only talk out loud once a week, so it's my advice of the week.
I think you tweet more than I do, Daniel.
I know. All right, that was a bad joke. All right, Tim, what is it? You got advice for us? Or let me guess. I got to go first.
No, I mean, I can't always go back to my thing. You just got to live your own life and focus on your own life and focus on your own thing. Talking about don't worry about stuff. Worrying about things never helps. You can make decisions. You can you can think about things. You can consider stuff. But the difference between thinking about something for a half hour and for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, generally the decision that you want to make is going to be the first one you think of. And if you do anything else besides that decision, and even if you do make that decision, you're probably not going to like it, but you got to do it. If it's selling Bitcoin, if it's buying Bitcoin, if it's answering the door when the cops are knocking, you can't just sit there and just go, I mean, I don't know what to do. Nothing happens good from being inactive. Just be proactive. Learn laws around you. Learn how to use Bitcoin better. Yeah, just try to be less dependent, I guess, because I think that's the biggest problem with, if we're talking about a widespread adoption and just more people using the blockchain, is more people just need to think autonomously or just independent of themselves and not. I mean, this hasn't been approved by the FCC. I don't know if I want to listen to this. It's kind of, or I mean, we're beyond that, but there are still people alive who would do that. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds like that just seems like that'd be brash and disgusting. But we like when stuff isn't censored. It's not good to do that. So don't be afraid of uncensoring stuff and kind of just cutting away some ropes, because if you die, you're dying eventually. I'm sorry. Like if you die, I apologize for the advice, but you're not going to come back complaining to me. So it doesn't matter. There.
Hey guys, this is one of the few reasons I have Tim on the show. I know he struggles here and there. He's late. You know, it takes a while to get points across, and some of his points don't make any sense. But once in a while, you get that golden nugget where he's got some real thought going on back there, and he puts it to you straight.
Something in there.
You're going to die one of these days. It's a fact of life. Well, death is a fact of life. And that's Tim's advice of the day, it sounds like. So, no, but seriously, though, that was a good way to put it. Be proactive. Learn how to use Bitcoin. Know what they say your rights are. You know, there's all kinds of arguments about what rights actually are and how they work and who gives them to you. But at the very least, you can know what kind of rights they're claiming that you have. So, yeah, do it. Do it, sure. I'm going to change gears for my advice, because there's still some somewhat confusing chat going on, as most arguments are on the internet. Joe and Rick are going at it about what still transaction fees. Essentially, Joe kind of clarified, I think, that like, hey, the argument isn't about transaction fees in the future or whatever. I don't know. It sounded like he was saying that. Forget it. I'm being confusing now too because I'm trying to read this argument. Here's my advice. Buy low and sell high. All right. Nobody's going to argue with that. Nobody's going to argue with that ever. And that's kind of what it came down to in the chat. Joe was saying, listen, somebody that bought today at $1,600 is going to be a lot more panicky about the Bitcoin price than somebody like us who bought at $30. And that I fully agree with. Yeah, of course, we bought lower. That's better. So that's my advice. Buy low, sell high. That's how stuff works.
Do good.
That's how you make
Don't
money.
suck.
Exactly. And my other advice is just going to be, don't lie to me. All right, Zach? Don't lie to me. If you're telling me you're going to be there at 9:30 Eastern, then you better friggin' show up at 9:30 Eastern, or we're not going to have you on the air.
Oh, we're going to have some podcast beef next time.
Don't lie to me, guys.
Podcast war.
Hey, thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the share button. I know we're done live, but if you're listening later, watching later, whatever, hit the share button to let other people know that we exist. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for jumping in the chat, guys. I'll let that argument go on for as long as it's going to go on, and you guys can have a good time. In the meantime, until next week, send us a tweet at you, me, and BTC. Browse our website, youmeandbtc.com. Got all kinds of tutorials, reviews, episodes, hundreds of them back there. Great affiliates and sponsors that we'd love for you to check out. Remember, guys, from today, it was Spells of Genesis, youmeandbtc.com/SOG if you want to check out the blockchain-based trading card game. And come back next week, guys. Can't wait for it. Wow, I'm looking at myself on the video now. I'm kind of sweaty. I forgot to mention it's over 100 degrees here, and it's only freaking, what, May? The beginning of May? And we're at
it got cold here.
103 or something. So I didn't even bother turning my fan off and shutting my window today. So maybe you heard that. I don't know. But anyway, until next time, if you're hearing music right now on the podcast version, that's from John Stewart. Thanks for that. And we'll catch you next Thursday. Peace out, everyone.